Oh! Alright, how's everybody doing? I fixed the tripod. Now this thing is stiffer than a dead man. Oh! Are we recording? Can you see me? I cannot see you. I can never see you. You know I can't see you. You know this shit don't work like that. Skype 1 versus 4,000. Alright, today I have a lot of things to talk about with you. Now, today I'm going to have tobacco, which contains nicotine. I'm going to have cannabis or cannabum, however you like to hear it. Or just weed, nigga. Just whatever, you know. I'm going to have, this is grape Kool-Aid, and I'm going to have some honey lemon tea. So, just to ease your mind, all the different junk I'm gonna put myself today on camera. Remember, we are chemical beings. That's why we have songs about things like cocaine. She tells me don't worry about it. Oh, 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 oh. I can't feel my face when I'm with you, but I love it. The whole fucking country is listening to this song and they have no idea it's about cocaine. Cocaine is the only thing in the world that you can use with somebody else, especially a woman, and she'll say, don't worry about it. Plus, your face is all numb. And then it makes you think about nothing else but cocaine or sex, right? That's what they teach us in all the Babylonian movies. So, first I want to say hello to all the, how do we say, is it American Indians or whatever. Hello, all the Indians. And then I'd like to say hello to all the Assyrians. Alright, so hello to the conquered and hello to the conquerors. Okay, so now we live in a system where we're all free and equal, with a Liberty Bell that's cracked down the center, and two different things, two different outcomes in court. Alright, so welcome to the new and improved daughter of Babylon. You've got a front row seat to the end of time. Judgment Day is coming, and what we're going to talk about today is, will I stay or will I go? Now, I'm not talking about me in general. I'm talking about you. Will you stay or will you go? Will you be part of those people that say, flee? Or will you be part of those people that say, don't flee, man? Alright, so, flee or don't flee? That is the question. Now, there's plenty of scriptures that say, flee. And there's plenty of people that argue against the scripture. So, when the scripture says, be as he-goats and leave the Chaldeans, we all know what fucking movies do to people's mind. But they will still argue, those aren't the Chaldeans. You type in Chaldean church, it will pop up Chaldean Catholic Church. Catholics worship Christ, Christians worship Christ. Chaldeans are those who worship Christ. The people that are Jews, them that say they are Jews and are not, they run Hollywood, but they promote Christ. These people say, Christ died, there he is rolling around in hell in excrement. I agree. I believe from self-study that Christ is actually Lucifer. As it says in the book of Isaiah, that's because I believe Isaiah more than I believe any person alive today. I don't even care if people alive today retranslated the book. I would still believe the book of Isaiah more than I believe a living, breathing person in front of me. Especially if they say, Christ is king. I'd say Isaiah says that it's not. 43:11. The Creator, and only the Creator, is the Savior. Again, if you created heaven
and had the power of salvation to choose whom and who would not come into heaven, you would not give that power to any angel. And if you had some kind of son, which all angels are sons of God, if you had some kind of son that you thought was special, why would you give that power to your son when you teach humans that men grow old and their children usurp them? There's no way in heaven that a creator, any creator, would give that power away. That wouldn't make sense. That would go against what he said in the beginning. And he states that he does not change. These prophecies won't change. His laws won't change. His people won't change. You can dip them in bleach and they're not going to change. They'll be scarred, but still particular to him. No matter how bad you want their position. Chaldeans. Do you leave or do you not leave? That is the question. I'll put it to you like this. Those are the people that believed, past tense, in Jesus. He says something interesting. He says, I believe it's just the words of James, truthfully. If it's not a parable, I don't think Jesus said it. Again, I think Jesus is monobeas, or monobezus, the second. I've showed you this in many videos. If you're new, you should be watching old videos. You should know everything that I'm talking about right now. So, again, I believe it's something that James said. When God comes and brings his Son of Man, what does he say? You should already have your lanterns filled. Now, in the book of Jeremiah, book of Ezekiel, all the books, they talk about the second covenant. When the Israelites leave the captivity of the daughter of Babel and go and meet the Lord and the one he set aside from the beginning that was there before Abram, who is the Lamb, which would be Abel, the first prophet who prophesied against his brother Cain before Cain slew him, as we read in the book of Jashir in the first chapter. Now, these are where Christianity got its little snippets of creating Jesus Christ. Taking the lamb symbol from Abel, the begotten son title from David, which is in Psalms chapter 2, verse 7. All you've got to do is read the Bible. You can see Jesus is a farce. He's really the God of war. He's really Ares, but he doesn't go by Ares today. He goes by another name. And you were introduced to him by the PlayStation 3. You were introduced to him as Kratos. And when you look up the name Kratos, it has to do with democracy. It's the God of democracy, the power that rules over. Democracy, Demon Kratos. This started as a republic and now it's a democracy. And that's a complete circle. That is what you call a complete teaching circle. I'm proud right now at this moment. I can't believe I remembered all that shit. Word etymology is how you find democracy, meaning demo or demos, which means, it's short for demon, Kratos. So, the Lord of hosts says to a group of humans, come out of her and make the new covenant with me. Here's the old covenant with Moses. Here's the new covenant with whomever. Those are the two witnesses. Do you understand what the witnesses do? They sign the contractual covenant. These are the two witnesses. You have something written in your heart. Does he want you for this, or does he want you for that? Now, I'm going to tell you a big secret. Nobody's wrong. Nobody's wrong at all. See, the people that he wants to leave are those that can humble themselves. We can't leave violently. We have to leave humbly. Violent people aren't going to want to leave that way. They're not going to want to leave at all. He's going to put in their heart to stay. Now, if you're watching right now and in your heart you always say, stay, you might be a violent person. And the right scenarios have not been seen by your eyes for your mind to adapt to your natural essence. Deuteronomy 32. I think it's 30. It's 31 or 32. I think it's 32. Deuteronomy 32. Because, we're told when the first covenant is broken, your children will be taken into captivity. Let's get it. It's a black man with a Bible. It's the most dangerous thing ever. Got a Negro with a Bible. 32, Deuteronomy 32. Now if you start reading from 16, they have provoked him to jealousy with strange gods. Strange gods versus a stranger. A stranger to an Israelite is someone that takes their God unto them, takes the Israelites' God unto them, and goes amongst them. A strange god is something that, a god that Israelites have taken unto them. That means it's an unnatural god unto the Israelites. If the Christian armies, if the Chaldean armies come over here preaching Christ with the sword and we accept it, that means we didn't have it before. We had to accept. These are the points I put in the shirts. That you accept the Creator. You accept the God of the term we use, Israel. Now, when we go to Deuteronomy 32 and 21, they have moved me, this is the Creator, they have moved me to jealousy, with that which is not God. They have provoked me to anger with their vanities. Idolatry is symbols. How many people wear symbols in jewelry? How many people walk around and try to act holier than thou, but don't try to act righteous? To act righteous, you have to act or worship the God who created righteousness. You cannot worship Zeus and be righteous. You cannot worship Baal and be righteous. There is only one God that created righteousness, and in his contract you have to do that. So, when we go back to this, moved him with jealousy, provoked me to anger with their vanities. You really have to understand, it's just not physical, tangible stuff. Not just jewelry, the attitude, the remarks, the comment. I'm not talking about to me. I'm talking about your God, in defense of your strange God. to others. You can't say that about my Lord Jesus Christ. That millions of your people died for that to be your God. If your people were alive, you wouldn't have that as your God. If your people were alive, these people wouldn't be on your land. And you've got to understand, I'm not preaching hate. I'm preaching what's in your heart, like the Bible says. And if you don't like it, write your congressman and tell your congressman they should come and take all these books out of my goddamn hands when I'm dead. They have provoked me to anger with their vanities, and I will move them to jealousy with those which are not a people. Excuse me, I read that all slow just to be like accurate, and then I will provoke them to anger with a foolish nation. Now, we're in that scenario, whether you think so or not. I know people read the Bible and they feel like they're reading a chronological order. Well, if you go to the history of the Bible, the prophets are taken out of chronological order. This is not talking about Babylon before. This is talking about the daughter of Babylon now. Babylon before said, lead your flocks. They led the people to who? Cyrus. When we go to Ezra and Nehemiah, they left Babylon and went to Cyrus for the money to rebuild Jerusalem. They didn't go over hills and mountains. They went to the Persian kingdom. That's not written when it says be as he goats. When people sit there and try to misguide you, it's because of what's in their heart. The Lord wants them to redominate the people that dominated you. Recently somebody said, I must be confused. I've tried to use the term Israel, saying that I want to be or I am. The term Hebrew, saying I want to be or I am. The term Negro and Negroid and the terms that fall underneath it, such as Oceanic Negro, Woodland Negro, Hottentot Negro, Pygmy Negro. I must be confused. Now, I want to add to the plate that we, not only are we all these titles of Hebrew and Canaanite, that we're Indians. So this person kindly mocked me. Well, that's life, isn't it? Now, I want you to say this with me. I'm going to say, all together, 12, 12. Hebrew, Hebrew. Tribes, tribes, right? 12 Hebrew tribes. 12 Hebrew tribes. Listen real quick. Now look. Here's the funny part. 12 tribes of Israel. 12 tribes of Israel. Okay, listen. Let's just push that aside. No, listen. American Indian tribes. Okay. Did you hear this? Did you hear a word in both syllable brackets? Tribes. I've always told you that your tribes, you live around downtown, north, east, south, west, doing nothing. Because you have nothing to hunt anymore. You have nothing to do anymore. Because you're on concrete. So you play basketball. And sell drugs and defend your concrete that's named after somebody else that's white. Okay, so look. Is it that far-fetched to understand that the American Indian fought the colonist all the way until Thomas Jefferson, who enslaved his enemy, his Indians, and slept with his Indians, and created bastard Negro children? Is it really that fucking hard to get? Here, let's start the sentence over. 12 Negro, Hebrew, Indian, Israel tribes. Does anybody get that yet? My little black book, from white colonist to white colonist, even though they're not white, they're Caucasian. They're actually the color of this table. I'm actually the color of the table too. I'm just Afro. This book says colonists wrote to colonists and said, they're dark, they're tawny, they're swarthy, they look like coal. Describing different regions of different areas of different types of Indians. So, I can't help it that they've brainwashed you and trained you to say, I'm black, I'm African American, and most of us don't like the term Negro, especially if we're not Negro. I can't help that. Tawny people, yellow people, orange people, kinda brown, medium brown people. You're a Negro. Dark brown people. Very dark people. Some of you are Negro too. The only legitimate way to tell the differences is the phenotypes. If you do not know what the word phenotype means, this is a good time to pause the video, open up another tab, type in the word phenotype, starts with a PH, and then you'll understand what I'm talking about. We're going to have to understand each other so that we can make it further. So, should we stay or should we go? People that are going to stay, it is going to be written in your heart to overthrow whatever's going on at the time. You don't live all over the country. You're just dispersed in pockets throughout the country. There's no way you're ever going to take the country. Nor should you really want to. You should leave with us. But this book is prophecy, and prophecy is already written. And if you can't understand your part in this, then you should attempt to communicate with the Creator, and, as He tells you, be humble and be open-minded, so that when He puts whatever message is in your heart, you'll understand your own heart. Now, I don't really want to focus on my beliefs in destruction. Alright? It doesn't matter if there's World War III prophecies. It doesn't matter if there's race war prophecies. It doesn't matter if everybody knows about them, but I'm the only one that's going to talk about it out loud. That's your thoughts on what you consider taboo. A lot of wicked things are going to happen here. there's going to be famine on one end and FEMA camps on the other. If you look healthy and you look like you can produce, they're going to throw you in a FEMA camp. And when you refuse to work, they're going to behead you. They know it, and most of you that spend all your fucking lives online, you know it as well. So again, you should think about leaving. And when you leave, you can do whatever you want. But remember, Judgment Day isn't that far off. So if you run around fucking stealing and raping, you're going to pay on Judgment Day. If you decide that you want to leave and you're just an opportunist, he's going to destroy you along the way. I know there are going to be things that happen to people that along the way. You must be strong. You must be humble and courageous, and you must always call upon the Lord, and only upon the Lord. Do not attempt to call upon any angel or anything like that. I've given you the name of the Lord. I've given you the name that has led us all this far. We go to the Zondervan books to learn that the Negro is not of Africa, is not Hamitic, but he came out of Ham, land-wise. We go to Zondervan concordance, and we find the name of the Lord when we study. We even find the name of the angel of the Lord, Malik. So there is nothing that is completely unknown except for where exactly we're going. There is no place to tell you this is our destination. We're going south. We're going to meet him somewhere. When destruction is happening here, there will be people that attempt to be righteous, and they will go about trying to remind people. They will be preaching to people. They will be defending themselves as well. Now, if major events happen here in the United States, something is going to give us all a start. Now, I'm not all for people saying, oh, if war happens or this or that. No, we're talking about the Creator. Yes, he does say war is going to take place, but I'm talking about natural events. Let's say from fracking, a whole major city gets destroyed. Let's say Yosemite erupts like everybody's worried about. A major event that tells people that are spiritual, no matter what nationality they are, it is no longer safe to dwell here anymore. Something like that could bring people teeming out of the United States. Whether they use the cars, the trucks, and vehicles, that's their concern. A lot of people have literally this weekend, today's Monday, over the weekend, have literally asked me, how do you plan on leaving? You plan on flying. There's a scripture that says, do not leave in haste and do not leave in flight. When you look up flight in the Strong's Concordance, it translates to haste. So there's no way that I in my heart believe that the Holy One left a message for us, do not leave in haste, do not leave in haste. No. I think as something, meaning entity, that can see the future, I believe he left a message for us, do not take airplanes. So it states, do not leave by flight. And that's why I think flight is used in the Old Testament. It also states, also just on flight, boats are a fast way to travel compared to walking. A lot of things are a fast way of walking. A fast way to travel compared to walking. If we look at the history, the reality of it, in the last days, it shall be like the days of Noah. In the days of Noah, or the time, we're dealing with the Exodus back then. And they walked. When we deal with this, we're dealing with leaving the North Country, which is, if you look at H.R. 194, House Resolution 194, this is an apology for slavery in America, which the Congress, I think it's Senate, or House, whatever, already states this is the worst known slavery in the entire history of the world. So if anybody else thinks the North Country is some other place than America, then that's your fucking words. Leave my words out of it when you're stating your garbage. So, I'm a firm believer this is the North Country and this is where we'll be fleeing from. The Ephraim's symbol or mountain is in Vermont. When we look at what is called the Appalachian Mountain Trail, it extends all the way to Georgia. This is a mountain trail that all of our ancestors, to a great degree, would have walked to communicate with all the other tribes that lived in the 13 colonies. Again, in the 13 colonies, before the Europeans arrived, Negroes and Canaanites dwelled together, intermixed in some, admixture to some degree, mating to some degree, but not all the way through. That's why we see the United States making a dedicated monument to the Seminole tribe of Simon, the Hebrew Israelite tribe of Simon, under the name Seminole Negro Indians. Now, we've all heard of black Seminole Indians. Those are Canaanites. You have Canaanites, the black Seminole Indians, and you have Seminole Negro Indians. Any other type of Seminole is not really a Seminole. Only the Negro is of the bloodline of Seminole Indian. The other Indians joined with the Seminole Indians during the time of war with Jefferson. I think I said Andrew Jackson earlier. That was my bad. Pretty sure it's Thomas Jefferson. So, again, we need to know our history so we can understand this more, and we can understand the importance of our families walking the Appalachian Trail. Many of us living in or near the 13 colonies, walking the Appalachian Trail, and then walking the Trail of Tears to get from Georgia to Texas. Again, our families enslaved by what? Hittite Indians, red-skinned, straight-haired people called Cherokee. Now, I know there's Negro called Cherokee. There's no point of even arguing this. There's absolutely no point of even arguing this. If you're not getting the real deal, then you don't understand. When the settlers came over, they mated with some of the Indians. Those bastard children formed their own separate tribes. When the white man went to war with the brown-skinned Indian, the red-skinned Indian sided with their bastard new fathers. That is why you have the 5 what tribes? Civilized You got 5 civilized tribes because they are intermixed with European stock. If you blood test those Indian tribes and those people that say they are the root blood of the tribe, you will find they are fucking European. When those colonists came over, the woman wrote me a letter once. She wrote it privately. I don't have to say her name. I still have the letter. It's through the internet. I've always got it. And she states she's from the bloodline of Daniel Boone. And he legally married an Indian woman. Now, that makes great sense to me. This is where the Bible says, don't marry your daughters off to them. Don't marry your sons off to them. Because later they'll come and take your land. Because then they have a blood right. To a portion, not the whole. Well, that's where guns come involved. Anybody with an army can always fight against people without an army. So, the bastards that we created with stringy hair that were called Indians, they carried us away into slavery to Oklahoma. Yeah, when you really start to understand what's really happening, it's really messed up. Here, come in close. Lean in. It's not like I can hit the screen and it affects you. Everything in the Old Testament happened here. From South America all the way up to Canada. All the people that they keep bringing up are over here. Rome is not talked about. Greek is not talked about until they introduce themselves, because they become the king of the seas. You are the descendants of the Indians that went to war with the colonists when the colonists broke the treaties. All their great kingdoms have been built on your neck, and they want to keep it a secret from you. Because if you realize you're the people that they said are savage Indians, that they decimated and had to bring in slaves from another country just to restock so that they could build, then you're gonna go apeshit. I don't really mean the term apeshit, I really mean it's almost like an act of possession where you become so angry, your logic cells just cut off. They don't want that to happen to you. I don't want that to happen. You're no good to me. Illogical. We need to leave. We can figure everything else out tomorrow. But staying here much longer, even staying here and waiting for an event to happen, it just makes it harder. We cannot think that we can leave our home on Tuesday and be in Mexico by Thursday. In all honesty, it should take you months to reach Mexico by foot. Your ancestors did it. Abraham did it. I don't care if you can get a car, you can get a bus. There are poor people that he considers more valuable than you. And when they come down to find out about him, and you went ahead of us, they'll probably find you. I'm going to read something. Isaiah chapter 2. Now listen to this. Now, I should be reading Isaiah chapter 1. All of it. So you understand what's going to happen here in North America. Now listen. Isaiah chapter 2 and 2. The word that Isaiah, the son of Amos, saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem. And it shall come to pass in the last days, so that's future tense, in the last days, in the days before Judgment Day, that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established in the top of the mountains. So there's a series of mountains, and the one that has the peak shall be the top. Okay? And shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow unto it. All nations are going to come to this mountain. This mountain that we that leave is already going to be at. We don't need attitudes, we don't need this, we don't need that. All we have to do is get up and start walking, and as we start, we get a snowball effect. And we become bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. That's what needs to happen. The brown man in Seattle and the brown man in Maine don't have to get on buses and travel, and the poor black man in Seattle and the poor black man in Maine don't have to get on buses and burn out their funds. So then that way, when they're months ahead of everybody in Mexico, they've got nothing to live on and no way to eat. Save your money. Get books on edible foods, edible plants. Save your money and buy something to hunt with. Get on the phone with somebody that's reasonably close to you. 40 miles, 50 miles, 100 miles. If we met somewhere, it'd be here, and it's too far for us to go home and just be quitters. You bring this and I'll bring this. If you've got a Humpty rifle, I got a handgun. If you shoot the animals, I'll protect us from wild stuff that comes close. I've got a bow and arrow, and you've got what? I don't know. A shotgun. Whatever. We need these weapons to hunt for our food. We don't need to play these civil games. It is against our religion to be unarmed and not able to hunt to eat. And that matters here in this country. Your religious belief. I am a child of Jacob. I need an arrow. Or I need an arrow. One or the other. You're a child of Jacob. You need to eat. You're not going to shoot fish and get a fishing rod if you're against those type of hunting tools. You're still going to watch the fish die. Still going to watch the fish eat the worm. That you got to take out of the fish before you eat. Just like a hunter's got to dig the lead out before he eats. And that's why you guys have nothing to do all the time. You used to be hunters in this great hunting land. You've been taught you're slaves, and you've been turned into farmers. Well, some of you were farmers, but most of you have been turned into farmers and laborers. And when the farms died off, you went to what? Industrial labor. Industrial. Feed an industry. Grocery stores are an industry. Shopping centers are an industry. Construction itself is an industry. Medical, dental industries. Do you understand yet? All these different types of things that you can do in the Babylonian cities, they're industries. And they bring in billions of hard-working dollars. That's where they get the poison from. Alright. Many people, see, so all these nations are going to flow onto the mountain. Isaiah chapter 2 verse 3. And many people shall go and say, come and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, of the house of God, of Jacob. And he will teach us his ways. Who's going to teach him? You servants. And that's what you're leaving for. Again, poor servants that are about to leave Babylon cannot get on planes and buses and then sustain themselves in other lands. Hey, listen, if you couldn't beat the system to get a great job or a really good job to make money fast, then the only way you're going to make money fast is hustling. You think you're going to go ahead of everybody else and hustle in another country, it's going to go bad. No matter how you look at it. When you leave, the only righteous way to leave here is walking. Now, I was very stubborn. I got myself, when I went to visit Gerald in Ypsilanti, I got back to Cleveland, and it was 6 hours to my bus to Akron. Now, Cleveland to Akron's a 40-minute drive, 30 if you drive fast. So I was very cocky, and I said, oh, I can walk back to Akron before this bus even leaves. So 7 hours later, I was halfway to Akron. I had walked 20 miles. So I called my mom to bail me out because I could not do it. I went to Google and I searched and looked, and I found something that stated the average human can walk about 20 miles per day. Alright? Now, that's about reasonable because, you know, when you go to work, it's about an 8-hour shift. So if you walk 8 hours and you try to do it fast, it's really going to hurt your hips and your legs. But if you walk at a reasonable pace, you're not dawdling, but you do want to eventually make up some miles, it's going to take you some time, but it's not going to hurt you. Anything that you do too much of is going to hurt you. There are some of us that have problems walking now, or walking, from walking we've developed problems. Well, I understand that, and there's nothing I can do about that. Those people that have become lame or medical issues, that's completely different. There's no way that you're going to be able to walk out of here with medical issues. You're going to have to wait until and the nation shall flow unto it. You're going to have to see a lot of the destruction. But some of you will survive. I truly believe that. I'll say that again. Some of you with illnesses, you will cleanse yourself. You will fast. And you will survive this. He will protect you. And you will come with horror stories and wondrous stories of survival. And you will come with stories about people that try to be heroes. And you'll come with stories about people that were villains. a lot of things are going to happen for whatever the purpose. But it states that the people that are leaving will be going to set this place up. We've read in different places where it talks about, I will give you back the vineyards. We read in Ezekiel, I will give you back the vineyards. Again, when we read about the vineyards, it says, don't eat from the vineyards for 3 years until it ripens. That means once we all get down there, the initial people that leave, 3 years passes that we're not eating from these vineyards that he gives us. That means there's success for us. That means no matter how daunting. That means open up Google Maps, type in your freaking city, and then type in, say, Peru. Let's say Jerusalem, let's say Perusalem. Let's just say type in Peru. No matter what, we're going to the northern region of South America. That's where we were taken from. So saith the Caucasian. We're going to pass places in Mexico that we were taken from. We're going to leave places from America that some of us were taken from. But very few of us are from Africa. And most of us were shipped over to Europe. They took our kings and queens to Europe to mate with them. They took the queen, the daughter of Montezuma. They killed Montezuma. They took his daughter over to Spain to mate with her. And then she started crying about, where's her crown? They took 3 Indian chiefs, 3 Indian kings that were dark-skinned, to King George, the German. The European King George, who was ruling Europe from Germany. Or he's a German that ruled Europe. However you want to look at it. Look up Kings and Queens of Europe, and you'll learn about it quick. And this book depicts all this shit. Well, Mysteries of the Mexican Pyramids depicts the part about Montezuma's daughter. But this is what it's about. You can't rape men. They raped our women to create a bastard seed line. When they came over out of honesty and in need, they intermarried some of us and then exalted the mixed breed over us and say that they're natural. Say that they're aboriginal. The original stock plus A. A and B equals A, B, original. Aboriginal. You ever think, why the fuck does aboriginal, why is it written the way it is? It's an equation. The freaking word is an equation. If you take these people and these people that were originally there and you bang them through, then you get this. That's what they tried to attempt. But our seeds were too far apart. That's what happens in the book of Jashir when it tells you Zepho was king of Kittim and he forced Kittim upon Italia. Now you got the Italians today. 2 seeds intermingled made one. It was as if all their men took all their women and all their men took all their women and then kapow. And then, hey, one more time, everybody, just to make sure everybody's pow. Yeah, I know that was stupid, but you gotta understand what I'm saying. They ran each other through with their swords to procreate, but not to kill. The problem is, when pale people mix with dark people, the pale people become dark. They wanted it the other way around. It doesn't work like that. Nobody has control of how your children is going to come out. He does. And he makes those choices. So, those of you that stay, something else is happening for you. I don't want to get into that. I think I've already said enough about it that makes it sound like very negative on my part when it's just biblical prophecy. It's not me giving out any orders. It's not me dictate. It's not even me prophesying. It's me just saying the reality of our world versus what this book says is what's going to happen. Isaiah chapter 7, the coming war. Isaiah chapter 8, the Messianic King. That's not Jesus. And these are prophecies. You know? So you truly got to understand what's going on in this book. We live in the world where Lucifer has already fallen. He's already king of the world. He's already confused the world. He's already curved the prayers that should be going to the Creator to something else. Himself. I shall read this to you. It matters not that I said all that. In your mind you're saying, Jesus, Jesus, and you've got it all wrong. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, chopped like a tree? I'm reading this. You should have your Bible open, so you know the difference from when I'm reading and when I'm interjecting or injecting or interpolating or Hebrew interpolating, because I'm not going to Christian interpolate this, buddy. How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? When the fallen angel fell, he was here to communicate with them at that point. That weakened them. When he opened his mouth and the lies came out, they accepted the lies. They passed these lies on through war. Your ancestor, my ancestor, accepted Jesus Christ with a sword to their throat. When I ask you to accept the Creator that formed you, I don't have a weapon. I'm just using words. 14 verse 13. For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven, and I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. Logical question here, people. How many people worship God? How many people worship Jesus Christ? You think Lucifer is actually going to use his motherfucking name? Hey, let's all worship Lucifer. Wait, in the Old Testament it says he's going to trick us into doing that. No, we don't want to do that. Hey, let's all worship Jesus Christ. Well, who is he? Well, he's the Son of God. Wink! Don't you get it? All angels are the Son of God. All angels. Samyaza, Raphael, Azazel, Michael, Gabriel, Lucifer, all sons of God. You've got to understand when you're being deceived. You've got to break your training. Think on your own. Think on your own. No one's going to benefit from you thinking on your own except for you. You will benefit from thinking on your own. Knowledge is power. If you do not think on your own, you are powerless. How can you call on the Creator as your power when you cannot think to do it? You must think on your own. I hate Jesus. Excuse me. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. Didn't Jesus go to Mount Olives or something? Didn't Jesus go and talk at the mount of this or the mount of that? Don't you get the side words when they pop up and match shit in the New Testament? You've got to be able to think on your own. If you want to leave and survive this the right way, you've got to worship the Creator. Because He's going to bring this house of cards down. One system at a time to spread it out. Just to spread it out. See, you don't know what it's all about, do you? You have no idea what it's all about. You have no idea why you're here. You have no idea why you can touch your hands together. You can touch other people. You can touch people funny and procreate. You have no idea what it's really about. You want to know? Imagine one day you woke up. Wait a second. Imagine one day you woke up and it was dark everywhere. You looked around and you called out and nothing was there. At some point, you realized you were alone, yet unique. And then you thought, what if you had something else there? And let there be light. We're dealing with someone. It's not even fair to say something. Someone. The Creator is a man. We are in His image. We're dealing with someone that was self-created. I would not go as far to say he is lonely, but I would go as far as saying bored. So he set an agenda. I want to make something that can exist with me on my level to an extent. But I've got to trust that if it's put through all these different types of circumstances that could exist in any realm, that it's not going to try to take my stuff. This is why the Gnostic Satanists always want to show you their aspect of God as a little white child with no one to play with. Now, we grow into men. So there's no way I'm going to say that the Creator is a child. All men experience what we call jealousy. And if I take something from you, I should expect retaliation. What he wants to do is find, I would guess, the word does not exist in English. He does not want an adversary. He does not want a competitor. He does not want, from my understanding, a lover. But I believe we're dealing with the term used sometimes is partner, but that is not the word that could even fulfill this thing. Companionship to a degree is the best way to describe what he wants. I would guess that is the best way to describe. Not one of those words, not all of those words. In the series that it was said is the best way to describe it, because there, again, there's no word that could, you know, especially in English, you know. So you need to think about what you want to do. You need to think about what's written in your heart. You need to think about what you're going to do. Because when the time comes, we're all going to be leaving from our homes. A lot more people are not going to budge. But most of us will be leaving from our homes. I mean, most of us viewing. You know, I don't need you to come out and say, yeah, I'm leaving. All I need you to do is leave. I need you to have equipment so you can survive. I need you to have, like, jerky set aside so you can eat when you don't catch anything, or you can eat when you don't find edibles. I need you to have a tent, some way to keep rain off you, some kind of shelter, a sleeping bag. What I don't need you to be is empty-handed. There's not one person that can afford to carry their fucking gear for you. Each individual needs their own hiking pack. Even if you're poor, you need to save up for this. If I would guess the way prophecy is actually written, I would guess Passover hits, we leave the next day. That's my best guess. So, I know a lot of people are ready to leave right now. Tough it out. Or start. We are not ready yet. We have a lot more to cover. We have a lot more to cover. So, I would suggest this. I would start selling off your vain shit and start buying the things that you need. Start thinking. You decide what's a necessity for your comfort. You decide how much weight you can carry. If you spend $1,000 on camping gear and you can't carry any of it, then that's your fault. You need a bag you can carry the weight in. You need a sleeping bag. You need some kind of skilled way to eat. If you've got money and you think you're gonna hike the city streets, concrete kills your back. If you think you're gonna walk from city to city, spending money at stores, then when you're out of this country, you're gonna have a bad start. You're gonna be broke. Save any money you can. When the time comes, we leave, we all start walking. If it gets rough, it's gonna get rough. We leave, it's gonna be winter. that's going to be real rough. That's going to match prophecy. So these dollar beef jerky sticks, you get a bunch, they expire next year. It does not, if you break the distance you have to travel to get into Mexico down by, say you walk 10 miles per day, if you break it down that way, you can do the math equation of how long it will take you. And if you leave your house, know that somebody else left. And the United States is like this. When it goes into Mexico, it goes like that. And eventually it funnels into Panama. And we all have to run into each other eventually. Alright? So, I'll keep you posted. I'll talk about more things that I would say is needed. Again, I would say intermingle with people. If you carry this, I can carry this. If you can carry the tent, then I can carry this or that. You know, there's some things that are critical. You know, there's not many. Like a compass isn't that critical. A cheap compass is cool. You know, you take the compass when you're at the store, right? You shake it up, and you spin in a circle. If that's north, and the arrow always points that way, you spinning in a circle, then that's a fair compass. If you start turning and the arrow doesn't turn with you, you do not want to have that compass out. Again, you're not really going to need a compass to a great degree. We live in modern times where every road's marked. All right? If you get lost, you can find a sign. It's going to say south. It's going to say 57 south. It's going to say some number in south. You know? So, you know, be careful. Let people know in your family what you're doing. Let them know why you're doing it. Encourage them to leave this place with you. Eventually, I'll talk about places that people can meet. There are national parks that you can meet at. The Appalachian Mountain Trail, it is considered a national park. You know, there are people that hike this all the time. You probably don't want to do it in the winter. It's probably better to leave November or December, because you're not going to be dealing with a lot of snow. If you're bundled for the wind, then only the wind's the only thing that's going to bother you. You know, these are just some of the things. Look, I had hours to talk about this with people over the weekend, and these topics, some of them are going to matter to some of you, and some of them aren't. If you have no intentions on leaving, and you sat through this video and you think everything I said is garbage, you never know, because he might influence your heart to leave, and then you sat through this video and you retained no information. If you're carrying weapons, I would not want to deal with officers, because I would not want them to invoke their beliefs that they have authority over you. You are the descendants of Indians. Every black-skinned person that has been through slavery is a laws, and they know it. They're playing cowboys and Indians. They are masonically playing cowboy and Indians, and they know the game that they're playing. Now, you've been slightly introduced to what they're playing. You have to get smarter. I'm not saying fight with them. I'm just saying flee from them. I do not want to be searched by cops. I have a bow and arrow, and I want to use that to hunt for food. I cannot leave Ohio and when I get down to Tennessee worry about a goddamn hunting license for a fucking section in a suburban area. I can't worry about a license in fucking Norfolk County, Kentucky, or any kind of shit like that when I'm from fucking Ohio and I'm hungry. Fuck that. I'm going for mine. And that has nothing to do with theft. Now look, you can argue in court to get your belongings back if you want. Like I said, I would avoid police. I would go with the most humble attitude. If you're walking and somebody's like, "You fucking nigger," I'd be like, "Thanks, man. I hope God burned you." And I'd keep walking. If anything happens, defend yourself to the fullest. I'm not saying let them beat the living shit out of you. I'm not saying let them hang you. You've got to understand, if people that call themselves black for so long start leaving their homes and walking out of America, the KKK is not going to like that they're going to have to find a restock. They're not going to like that their fucking targets are leaving. So be aware and protect yourselves to the fullest. If you get in situations, use the law if you can. But be wary. The law might be on the same side of those people that are stalking you. Yes, that is exactly what I mean. If you are walking X amount of miles per day, you might get stalked by racist hunters. So be aware. This is not going to be easy for any of us. The most healthiest, the most fit, or the most addicted. Because once we get away from our addictions, the real versions of ourselves will show. And if we can't control ourselves, then what good is it for us to attempt to unite to be sovereign amongst ourselves? I'm going to stop there. I think I've given you a lot to think about. I think that I completed everything that I brought up. I don't think I left anything unspoken. I don't think I left the sentence drifting in the air and drifted off anything else without coming back and getting back to that. I think I tied up all that shit. So, again, when talking about this subject, many different subjects come into play. What to take, what's legal, how are we going to cross the border, where are we going? These things we'll deal with in the future. These things we're going to have to deal with in the future. If anything, it's most likely that we will meet into groups in each individual state along the border. I highly doubt that each group will come together in the states, but if it's possible, we will. What would I say to any of you while we're leaving? Get a backpack. Get a good backpack. Don't buy a backpack made out of cheap material. I know you're not going to know what's cheap material and what's not cheap, and what's expensive material or quality material. Here's the thing. The lower the price, the cheaper the material. Now, it could have great quality material, but the fabric might not hold the weight you put into your bag. You do not want to be 3 days in and break your bag and start thinking about going home. Now look, you're going to talk to people about this, they're going to say you're crazy, they're going to say you're nuts. Ask them who their God is. They're going to say Christ. if they have black skin and they say Yahshua, Yeshua, anything like that, that's still Christ. Black Christ is still fake Christ. I love doing these with no notes. I love it. So, I want to say a special thank you to the people that have bought shirts. With your purchases, I've been able to save up for my bags. Now, the bags I'm getting is a brand, the bags I want, I forgot the brand name. I brought it up before. Wow. But it's an interesting quality. The bags are broken down by how many liters they can carry. I almost ran it. It's Kelty, Kelty. I like the Kelty bags. It seems like a pretty high priced material, but the prices don't skyrocket, and I'm buying mine through Amazon unless there's a surge of Kelty bags purchased, and then I can't get my hiking bag. I think the price isn't too high, and the material is pretty high, so I think that's a pretty good bag. These things you're gonna need. You live in a house where you can plug in stuff right now. That's going to be taken away. If you think you're going to take devices, if you think you're going to take a phone, then you're going to need one of those radios that you can charge your phone to. If you buy a radio you can charge your phone to, you should test it at home. You might want to buy a radio. If you have a friend that lives far away and they're doing it too, they're leaving too, you're going to want to figure out a way to communicate with them. So, you're going to want a way to charge a device for communication. When I leave, as I did when I left on mountain bike, I will be broadcasting. So look for those. I do not encourage people to attempt to go out of their way to meet up with even me. I would have faith in the Creator that He's going to buddy you up with who you need to be. I would say that is the only logical response. I would have faith the Creator is going to buddy you up with people that are around you, that out of necessity and out of you preaching to them. You're going to come across people that know everything about you, what you're talking about, but haven't heard your perspective or your new perspective, that Christ isn't going to save them, that God never made a Savior, that God is the only Savior. We are classified as Afro-Asiatics. We know that Indians crossed the Bering Straits. We've found out through the manuscript that Horace Butler presents that that was Moses. We've been lied to from the start. We need to get back to our heritage. Our heritage is in the woods, in the forest, in the jungle. It is not here. Alright, from this point on, it's just going to be me babbling, so I'm going to stop. And, I don't suggest you watch other videos. Like, if you just watch this video, just stop watching videos for a day. You need to think. And watching other videos is going to cloud your mind with whatever they're talking about. You need to think. You need to meditate. You need to isolate yourself from the world. You need to find out what your task is and why you've been chosen to live in the final days. Good night.